Alrighty, peoples. This is J Baby PC. We have our guest. This is our first guest podcast. Kind of how we're gonna go, and my relation to like when we do these guest podcasts, my relation to these people, it doesn't matter, right? So it's going to be a thing where I'm going to, regardless of the relation, I'm going to act as though I don't know this person to give the best information and give the best, you know, to be able to apply to everyone, to best inform people or whatever. Say what I'm gonna say. This is gonna be like, and it's gonna be, not just a thing where we're just going in on anything. It'll be about a certain question, whatever. So, have my first guest here. He doesn't really know much, but he has a question, right? And I'm here to answer. So we'll go back and forth. These videos are not going to be too long, so it's not going to be like whatever, and it's going to be kind of based off of the question. You get it, right?
Yeah, I get it.
So I might ask you questions, and I might somewhat, but to give the best information, whatever like that, to help this meeting. They, whatever it is. Okay, so it's gonna be based off the questions. Okay, so what's your question?
My question is, I'm not sure I'm definitely not the only one that feels this way, but my question is
hold up, real quick, before he starts, just give your age first. Give your age.
That's what I was going to talk about as well.
Okay,
I'm 20, so around the age that I am, usually people around my age don't really know what they want to do, so they go to college or they just feel lost, I guess. So my question is what do you do, or what do you do when you feel lost, and how do you usually figure out what you want to do? I get that everyone has their own purpose, but I'm saying if you don't know where you want to go, but I'm already I'm not in college anymore, so I'm already out in the real world, so I just feel lost at what to do next.
Okay. What I would say is, one, do you stay on your own? Do you stay with family? What is that situation like?
I mean, I'm with my family right now, but in half a month I'll be on my own, living in my own apartment with a few other friends. So I'll have rent and stuff that I have to take care of. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I would start off by saying, one, and you've kind of been in a family dynamic, whatever. You might have had. I think you said that you were in college for some time, but isn't in college right now. But what you lack in all reality is experience. You lack it. You lack experience. So I mean, that's one thing you're missing, and you need to gain experience. To one, and you're talking about, okay, knowing what you want to do and knowing those things. Everyone to an extent is lost. At 20 years old, nobody knows for sure what they want to do. Nobody does know those things.
Yeah, and I get 20 is still young and everything, but I just feel kind of a pressure to figure out what it is. I don't know, it's still young, but there's still that pressure to I don't know. Usually it's kind of has to do with social media, I feel and that's why I kind of take breaks on it, because I feel rushed in society, oh, I look and I see someone else who's succeeding or anything, and then I don't know, you just get pulled in 6 different directions, and then you're not on a straight path, knowing, so you feel behind because you don't know which way to really go about it.
Yeah, and you are rushed. You're rushed by, like you said, you mentioned social media, where you'll see people who are your same age that are making all this money, that are doing all these great things, and you only see the good parts of their lives. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of makes you feel like, oh shoot, I'm behind, and if I'm not hustling like this person, and you feel behind, and then you get a lower view. You start thinking that these people are special. So like it's kind of like a thing where like when people grow up or whatever, they're told like, oh, you can be whatever you want, right? You start growing in age and it starts to feel like, oh, those things kind of disappear, right? And then
Yeah.
you'll see your peers or whatever. You could be a basketball player. You see these players, oh, they're in the NBA now. People I used to play, whatever it is,
Mhm.
you'll start to see, and then you'll start to think that these people are special. So you'll see these people up here or just random. Maybe it's for you. It's streamers on you on freaking Twitch or something like that are big and whatever like that. So you start to think that these people are special, and you start to have a lower view of yourself, right? Which
Yeah.
kind of contributes that, and the pressure from social media. There's pressure from your parents of, oh, they want you to do this certain thing. They want you to do that certain thing. It's pressure from you're getting pressure from everywhere, and that's just kind of how society has made the stuff. But
Yeah.
the
Like,
big say what you're
when I
saying.
was yeah, when I was young, like when I was younger, I like all our parents used to be like, "Oh yeah, it's good to be young." Like now, I'm looking like when I hit about 18, 19, when I see the real world, I was like, "Dang, like I miss being young and everything." But like the age I'm at is like one of the prime years, and like I feel like I should be like it should be an exciting part of life, and like really figuring out what you want to do. But it is just like the pressure of just like wanting so many like dreams and different things that like
It
that
is,
kind of like boggles your
yeah,
mind.
and it is an exciting time. At 20 years old, it's an exciting time. Like I said, still like super young. You still have many time, but one, first you need to figure out what you want out of life. What are your priorities for yourself? What are the things that are most important to you? Is things that are most important to you when you sit and look? Is it about finding the career you want? Is it money? Is it okay? I just want to have work life balance. I want the what are the
Yeah,
priorities in your head, and try to differentiate those priorities to be your own priorities and not things that you've seen from like programming and things you've seen on the internet. Like, oh, I'm supposed to want to have $1 million. I'm supposed things that you're supposed to. I'm supposed to want to go to college. I'm supposed to. There's a bunch of things that you're kind of supposed to, and you've been guided through society and by like your family, whatever it is that and social media that you have to have those things. So you have to first decide individually what do you want to get out of life. What is most important out of life, and that's where you can start but you have to know who you are.
yeah, but also, can you see me?
Yeah.
Uh, One sec. Oh yeah. So also, um, with like it's just like now it's harder to like get a better paying job, but also be able to like it's like you have to be able to balance. Like, say if I do live on my own and stuff like that, I'll have to worry so much about like being able to pay rent and like certain things because I'm not making enough money, which is why I feel like there's also pressure to make more money. So how do you like how do you go about that like financially? Like what is like
Yeah,
to
I mean
even be able to like chase like whatever you're like because obviously you have a job and like say you work like 40 hours 50 hours a week, like how do you manage that other time to then be able to like do what you really want to do because I'm not like where I want to be obviously, so I'm just trying to
right.
do something.
Mhm. And you're gonna have to work, and you're gonna have to work a certain amount, but you're working towards something. It's a little bit different when you're working and just like, oh, well, I like that, and you might not love the place that you're at, or you might not be like, okay, I'm here. I kind of my job. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? It's cool, and I'm working here to get to the next spot. I'm working to get to the next spot. It's not a definite thing.
Yeah.
You can say, hey, I'm working here because look, it pays me whatever. The job is pretty decent, whatever. And I have these goals that I'm trying to do. So in the short term, this is what I'm gonna do to help me do those things. So after I get done with my 40 hours, what am I gonna now if I have these dreams for this other stuff, that's what I need to put my other time into. I still need to stay focused and be driven to do those things. But at the same time, and be driven to do those things, but not put just so much pressure when it feels like there's a weight. It's harder to start. It's harder to do things when you put a lot of pressure on yourself. On every, let's say I'm making a video. If every video I put pressure like this has to make 1,000 views, or if it doesn't have 1,000 views, whatever like that, or I put so much pressure on it that it's hard to start.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have to work, and you're gonna have to work as much as you can to be able to do the things you want. But I mean, doesn't mean you have to go buy shoes every week. You know what I'm saying? You can live in, okay, I'm saving this money. I have my bills. I can, okay, this is the point where I can be a little bit comfortable, save some money, and I can pay my bills.
Yeah.
You know.
So another question I had was about like finding like your passion, because like all throughout like high school, or like all throughout like my childhood in high school, like I was only thinking like basketball, 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 and like that was just going through my head. And then like once you get older and like you stop doing those things, and like you're just done moving on with like certain things in your life, like how do you like find out like what's next, or like what your passion is?
And especially with someone who's so young, it's not like definite. You know what I'm saying? You choose a certain path, or you choose whatever it is. Once you like kind of understand what you want, where you kind of want to go, you just, especially being so young, it's not a definite path where you choose a path and you just stay down that path. I might choose a path, and I might, okay, take a little detour. Look, I want to do this. This is something that I want to do. I want to do whatever like this. Like, for example, fighting, whatever like that. I want to do. I'm going down and say, let me just try this. You have options. You still have options. You could choose a path and say, you could go down the path and be like, dang, this doesn't really work for me, and I can change. As long as I'm not worried about what the next person says or thinks about the decision or whatever like that, I can go down a path and I can choose something else. Right now, I could be, okay, I'm happy with what I'm doing. If I feel like, if I feel like I want to join the military tomorrow, I have the power. We have a little more power over our decisions, being able to make our decisions, and we have more movement in the world than you think. Because once first when the world hits you of, oh shoot, the real world hits me, I got to do this and I got to do that, it's like a whole lot of stuff. You have a little more wiggle room than you kind of think, to be able to say, hey, as long as you can make your own decisions and be like, hey, this is whatever it is, and if you have to tell other people, but being authentically you. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you can only fake so many people of what you would want to do. You have to be able to make your own decisions. Right now, I live in Houston. If I said I want to move here, or I want to move there, I can go do those things. Now again, I'll have to do those certain things I want to do, but the decisions can already be made up in my head. If I said I want to go back to Phoenix right now, there wouldn't be like a whole big thing. Like you have a little more control, and there's smaller things. It's not definite. Whatever path, I could say, oh, I'm happy doing this, and I could go a whole detour off and say, look, this is on my bucket list. Look, I want to go to Tokyo to whatever it is. If I decide, like a lot of things, I'll live off of like a bucket list or something, But there's certain things that I want to do that I can make a decision to do. Now, there might be some things that I might have to do to be able to allow myself to do it, but I can make the decision. The decision, and it's like I said, lacking experience. You need experience making decisions. You need experience with having highs, having lows. You need that. You need the experience of that. That will ultimately help you. You working whatever that stuff inevitably happens. Oh, this pops up in your life. And those things, they might seem as though they are negatives and like, oh, whatever it is, like it, add a little bit stress. And yeah, it might, but you kind of have to get those things will help like build you. They'll help make you a little bit stronger. Like, okay, now it's like I said, it's an obstacle. An obstacle pops up and you have to level up to beat the obstacle, and you get a little more comfortable with the obstacles. I get a little more comfortable with a little more pressure, with a little more things on my plate. And to be at the end of the day, whatever it is for myself, I could say I can live with the results. I'm very optimistic about things, but I can also be pessimistic. But if I'm pessimistic, I'm all right. If it hit the fan tomorrow, I would be like, at the end of the day, I would say I'll be all right because I have confidence in myself. But that's a long process to have that confidence that whatever happens, like, I'm good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Once I've done enough little things and okay, I've changed these, I've done this, I've accomplished this. I said I was going to do this and I did it. That's what I would think that to make the decision, make a decision. You need experience making your own decisions and facing either the positives that come with your decisions or the negatives. But you need experience with that regardless. So making decisions, and sometimes good things come from it and sometimes bad things come with it. But to be able to live with it, hey, I made this decision. Hey, stuff didn't work out, so now I went this way. Doesn't mean I'm a failure because I made this decision and look, it didn't work out that great, whatever like this. Oh, all right, I make another decision. I have to have the confidence, even if the first decision that I made didn't work out and other people told me that, yeah, that was a bad idea, you're done. I still have to be able to pick myself up and have the confidence to now make another decision. And maybe the decision is what they said, maybe it's a different thing. But I have to constantly be able to make the decisions.
Yeah. So with like the decision you're making, like a lot of times I think it's just like too big of a decision to where I'm like thinking it's altering my whole like life. Like if I like this is a life decisioning like thing that if I make this decision and like I don't like it's not as big as the decision may seem, but it's so big in my head that I'm like thinking too much about it.
Yeah, you get paralyzed when you're thinking so heavy up, you get paralyzed by fear, and then you just stand there. You know what I'm saying? When you think every decision is like, oh God, this is gonna decide my life. Every decision I make, these decisions, and things are coming on to you more as getting a little bit older. If every decision is like, oh, this is my life. Every jump shot you shoot is for the game.
Yeah.
It's the first quarter. And you acting like that's gonna LeBron, if I miss this shot, it's over. It's the first quarter. Imagine the pressure of anyone who had that. If every single shot was like Game 7 of the finals. Like it's hard to make. It's a decision. Make an educated decision. Make a decision that, hey, this is what you may make some decisions that are a lot of the decisions will come with like, okay, this is the education behind it. This is why I'm choosing this side. And then sometimes it could be a small decision. It could be a bigger decision. I might make a decision off just intuition. This is what I feel. And I have to be able to take, just like look at, you're here, right? And when other people, this is what happens to people. They'll let other people control how they feel about themselves and let them control. So right here, when people are giving you praise, you're cheesing. When people are patting you on your back, like, oh, you're doing so good. What? Oh, you're a baller. Whatever it is, they hype you up and you're teasing. But as soon as they start, you know what I'm saying? Oh, they start questioning you a little bit. Then you get a little bit down on yourself. You don't just stay here. You have to be able to stay here and be like, look, this is my decision. I have to be able to look. It's not that I don't care about what you're saying. It's not that it's like, oh, F you, whatever you say. It's just your opinion can't affect me, good or bad. I can't let the good or bad, your opinion can't have a huge effect on me. I have to make the decisions, and that's how this is my decision. Correct? Because at the end of the day, you gotta live with it. All these decisions, you gotta live with it. And if it's just like, I made a decision, I can say, hey, at the end of the day, I made my decision, whatever, like that. Water on the bridge, next decision. But if you, on the first decision, it's lacking experience. Like I said, you're lacking experience. You need experience making decisions for yourself. And again, living with the consequences or the positives. There could be a lot of positives that come from a decision that you make. And there could be negatives. But you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and be like, I'll live with it. If right now, like I said, if worst case scenario happened, I know I could. Worst case scenario, I could live in my car and be happy.
Yeah.
If it all hits the fan, if whatever happens, like, I could live in my car.
So how do you get that like stronger mentality when you're going through like certain things like that to where it just shapes you? Is that just like, I mean, I guess it's just like, how do you like, not everyone can even like think like that, but like I've gotten like tough mentally to where I can make certain sacrifices and be okay with it, or not like follow the crowd or listen to other people as much. But like a lot of times it does kind of get to you. So
like, and so even with that, it's a process. For one, like, I do a lot of reading. I invest into these things. I invest into my time, like reading, listen to like, this is stuff that I invest into that has kind of been a process. So along with investing into those things, I invest in myself more than I invest in anything. I invest in myself. Now that could be from working out, staying consistent, but building those things, you have to be able to tell yourself, hey, I'm going to do this, and you follow through. And building that mind, you'll build like little confidence. You'll build confidence. They say, hey, I'm gonna work out whatever this schedule, and I stick to it. And you actually stick to it, you're gonna build a little confidence. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna wake up and do this my morning routine. The more you do that, the more you do those little things, you build the certain confidences. And like, do a lot of reading or whatever, and seeing these obstacles, these things that seem as though they're obstacles, they're opportunities to grow. Now, like I said, there's a whole lot of things like listening to podcast, putting the right things on your head. You are your thoughts. Like I said, you have to put the right things into your head, and you have to fill yourself with enough like positivity and enough things that help you out, that you can do those things and have the confidence and have the thing. But all these obstacles or whatever like that, all the people and people in general, all the worst things that happen in people's, you could go back and be like, dang, for me personally, taking the bus every day. When I was taking the bus every day and it was 115, it wasn't like that wasn't the funnest thing ever. It wasn't the fun. Looking back on those things. Remember anything bad, all the bad stuff that's ever happened to people in their lives, they look back on it completely differently and be like, man, That actually helped me. That
Yeah.
thing actually, all the bad, that actually helped me to be, whatever the person, those things actually build you up.
Through like not necessarily struggle, but like more difficult times, I feel like you grow more than if everything was
Yeah.
just constant.
Yeah. If
Like,
everything was just cozy or whatever like that, there's no need. Man needs, there's a quote, man needs difficulty. It's necessary for health.
yeah.
Without
But
this,
also,
go.
good.
No, that was it. Go.
But I also feel like it's not pressure from your parents, but like you were like kind of like guided like through like life with your parents, and like you kind of lived cozy, and then like when you're like around the 18 age, or like when you like move out, or like after high school hits, you're like, dang, like it's the real world, like I have to start figuring stuff out, and that's what like you hit that like point where you're like, dang, like this is like life now. When yeah, I guess that's a lot of pressure as well.
And it's kind of like the thing that I was mentioning about, oh, you go and then oh no, these people are special. These people, like, yeah, it's the real, like, okay, yeah, it's the real world, but that doesn't mean it has to be like the scary boogeyman, like, oh, this is the real world. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? This is the real world now. Oh shoot, these are the same people these people might be smart. These people might be dumb. You just have to be able to adapt. All it is adaptation. All you have to be is able to adapt. It's a new thing. Everyone faces these things, and they're new to it. They're like, I've never had the responsibility, whatever it is, or and some people have had varying extents of responsibility earlier on, or varying differences of struggle early on, whatever it is. But you all face it. It's just you have to believe, like the little confidence things that I was talking about, to be able to just go, like, adapt. All it is adaptation. Like, okay, now I have these type of, this is what I need to do this certain thing, and I can make it work. I can make it work. I need to do this job, or maybe I need this job and this job, whatever like that. But not having so much of the pressure, having a plan, like, okay, this is what I can do, whatever. So there's a certain amount of action, and is a lot of like action things but there's a certain amount of like belief, and there's kind of like another phase. It's like it's the mental. Half the game is mental, half of it is physical, going like that. But I mean, half the game is mental. Just like they say in any sport or anything like that, most of the game is mental. These things are all capable of doing, and it's not something you just have to get used to. You know what I'm saying? At first, you're talking about basketball. At first you're playing whatever the team is. You're young. You're playing on the big kid court. It's like, oh, you're nervous. That's how it is. You're nervous every play you touch it. Oh shoot, these are big kids. I'm on the big kid court. You know what I'm saying? I'm 11 or whatever age, whatever it is. I'm on the big, and you get nervous, and then that's when you turn the ball over. But as you go, you get a little more comfortable. You get a little more comfortable, just like a role player to a star. Eventually, when you're like, I'm at the gym, I'm scoring all the points now. I'm scoring all the points. You get kind of used to it. You get used to the responsibility of, okay, this is what I need to do. These are the steps I need to take, and they may be different than other people in your circumstances. It doesn't really matter. It's really an insular game. It's all up here. It's all up here. Like I said, you can you make decisions and be happy in your decisions, and say, look, this is what I want to do. This is the plan. In the face of adversity, in the face of other people questioning you, just like for me, another instance, me moving to me moving states. There was criticism when I said, oh, okay, I want to work in this profession. Well, I want to work in this profession. That's something that's quite like, okay, I don't know if you could really do. There's questions about that.
Yeah.
Questions about that. I still stood strong and like, this is what I'm gonna do, and I took steps to make it so that I could be able to do it. And like I said, people, and especially when you're young, like you have your traditional resume and you have your life resume.
Yeah.
People need to work on their life resume just as much as they work on their traditional resume. And this sort of thing, because you can get your dream job with life resume. You go into an interview, you go into whatever it is. If I talk to freaking Elon Musk or whatever, if you go if there's a person and I climb Mount Everest, and then there's a person with a PhD, who does Elon Musk want to talk to? Dang, you climb Mount Everest? You know what I mean? Like, there's certain life experience that can land you, that can help you accomplish all these goals that otherwise seem like, you know what I'm saying? That otherwise seem, but having the full pressure of everything being on you and you shooting a game-winning shot, you're nervous. I don't want to be wrong. You can't be scared to make mistakes. This is the time to make them. Everybody's making them. Everybody's making them. Whether you're 40, 50, whatever like that, everyone's making them. They just have now, and they may make the same mistakes again. They may keep making new ones. They're still making mistakes. But to a certain extent, they start having experience to be able to recover quicker. You don't have any experience. You make one mistake, that might set you back months. If you're so worried about focus on the one mistake that you made, that might set you back for a while. Like, oh, I'm scared, don't want to mess up again. My life's at stake here.
Yeah.
This is chapter 1. My life just started. Your life just started. At 18, your life really just started. You probably got 80 more years on the planet. You probably a fifth of the way through, and you're acting like it's the end of you know what I'm saying? It's the end of the world.
Yeah.
So not have that pressure and be able to, hey, I'm making this decision for this, and be able to stand on what you're saying and be like, okay, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing that. And if
that's another thing. Like, having a why is a big.
Having a why to life. Having a why. Why am I doing these things?
Because a lot of people don't know why they're doing it. They just do it because they're told, or it's just they feel like the next step, but they don't have a step towards why they're doing it. So it just doesn't. I don't know. People do a lot of things and they don't know why they're doing them. They don't have reason.
Yeah, they don't. When you have a why, just like if you have a why to live for, I think you froze up, but that's all right. I can hear you still. But when you have a why to live for, you can bear almost anything that there is. If you have a why, if you don't have a why to live for, you're not gonna try. It's gonna be like you're not gonna try that hard. If someone was like, man, well, if you were a freaking captive, you were captured by the freaking another government or something like that, and they had you hostage. Imagine if you don't have a why to live for. You're gonna give up real quick.
Yeah.
And any criticism, anything that you face, whatever like that, it's like you're quick to give up. If you like, man, I gotta get to my wife and kids. There's a different life, or whatever it is. Look, I'm gonna accomplish this. I want to do this. This is what I want to do, whatever like that. And just to relieve the pressure and be able to if I have these things in my bucket list, if I want to join the military next week, I would join the military next week. And guess what? there's really nothing that no people could say, or they could say, oh, you should do. At the end of the day, it's my decision. If I want to join the military next week, there ain't nobody who could really stop me.
So how do you like build that mentality that like you don't care what anyone else thinks? Because I feel like everyone cares what someone else thinks, but it's just how much you do care, how much you let it affect you.
Stop taking the compliments. Stop taking the good things that people say about you. Because when you in regardless of how they feel, whatever like that, stop taking the compliments, and you'll stop hearing the boos. When they're hyping up LeBron James every week, whatever like that, if he's listening, if that's in his head, like, oh, that's good. As soon as they not approving of it or they say he sucks, he hears that just as loud. But anyways, our thing is about to 40-minute. We got a timer right here, so appreciate you for coming on, sir. First guest,
sir. Always.
We went into it, yeah, these guest pods we're gonna do every Friday. Solo pods Monday, Wednesday. Tune in. We're here to help. All right. Appreciate you, youngster.
All right.
All right. JVP.